Hello, everybody, and welcome to Office Hours with the CBO here, Advanced Local Estate Dollars Middle Mile Office Hours. So I think we'll wait just a few more seconds here and see what we got. Kristen, so far, has everybody been let it in and we're just ready to rock and roll?
Yeah, you can go ahead and start, and I will
Oh,
continue to let people in as they show up.
all right. If you want to go to the next slide, which is the agenda. Welcome, folks. My name is Stephen Gould, and I'm the senior program specialist here at the CBO. And thank you all for attending. So we're going to just do some brief housekeeping here. We're going to talk about our timeline, frequently asked questions, and we'll touch on the portal. And all this is kind of staying in the middle mile realm, which we did our webinar last week, and we'll just kind of reiterate some points that we made from that meeting, and hopefully be able to answer your questions because this is what this time is for. To see what's on your mind, to see how things are going, and with the portal and your applications and so forth. So, next slide, please. So this is just a quick reminder of the upcoming office hours. As you know, today is our first office hours kickoff. Then we got May 28th, June 11th, and June 25th. And you do need to register for those. So I hope you would do that and continue to join us for office hours. Um, Point of clarification as you're working through your applications and that type of stuff and working in the portal, just want to let you know that the CBO cannot provide any guidance that might be considered competitive, that give you a competitive advantage to any prospective grantees. So we got to be very careful about that. What we say to you all. So just want to put that out there so you're aware. Questions regarding the advanced local grant should be sent to our email address, which is advance_cbo@state.co.us. And we'll address them as frequently asked questions or during office hours as we're doing today. Next slide, please. If you were at the webinar, I think it was last week, you know that the portal opened up on April 30th, and it's going to stay open for 60 days. So it is open now, and you can start gathering your things up for to submit your application. But this is just kind of the timeline. That window closes June 29th for middle mile applications. And then we publish the award list by August. We have an appeals window, we have a challenge process, and then we hope to get our agreements executed and signed by October of this year. And of course, this is just an estimation of timeline. Things could change as we go along. So just putting that out there. Next slide, please. This is really a terrible slide. It's kind of hard to see. We keep them on our website. It's under resources. So if you go to the Advanced Local website, look in resources section, you'll be able to see the frequently asked questions, and it's underlined in red. And I know that's really small. It's kind of hard to see there, but so if you had questions during that webinar, we took note of that. We answered all those questions and we put it on the website. Um, and if they come up again, we'll address accordingly today. But you can go to our website and find a lot of that stuff. Next slide, please. So just some reminders. This is all stuff we talked about in the webinar, but just some quick reminders that go to the Advanced Local website for resources. We talked a lot, or I don't know if we talked a lot about it, but I mentioned a lot about how important it is to review the guidelines and relevant information. Um, one of the key factors in being successful to completing the application on the portal is to gather all the relevant information before beginning. So I would imagine that a lot of you are still in that phase, as I've been looking into the portal and I haven't seen anything come in as yet. And that makes sense that I have not seen anything yet. Um, Read the minimum requirements and award criteria application scoring. That's important, um, because obviously you got to get past the minimum requirements to keep moving forward. Use the correct naming conventions when uploading files. So when I'm going to review this stuff, um, it doesn't, it can't tell what is what. I have to be able to see how things are named in order to know what I'm going to be looking at. One big aspect of it is that to complete the workbook. And I'm pretty sure there'll be some questions that come around the workbook because it asks for a lot of information. It asks for a lot of numbers and calculations and things. But as you're working in that workbook, don't add any columns or rows because it could throw the formulas off. So we ask that you reach out to us and we'll adjust the sheet, the workbook accordingly, and add more columns or rows or whatever is needed, so that it all configures properly. And upload the correct file format, which is most likely going to be PDF or Excel file. But if for some reason you do upload the wrong file format, it won't let you go any further. It'll stop you and ask you to do that. So I think you are safe there. Next slide, please. That's pretty much it in terms of my spiel. And we can now open it up for questions because I'm very curious to see or hear what your experience has been if you've managed to sign up on the portal. You've gone to the website and um, gone through some of the materials, the guidelines, the addendum. Very curious. So, Brian, are you on? Brian, do you see anything in the chat? Is there anything happening?
Even
Any questions?
I can read the questions out for you if you want.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So Cynthia asked, can we share the link of the video of the kickoff of this program? The link is in the chat, but also it is on the Advanced Local webpage for those of you that may be looking for some of the information from the last session. Um, oh wait, Brian is on. Sorry, Brian, I didn't think
No,
you were.
you're fine. I'm here. I'm having computer issues, so I'm on my phone. So
Okay, all right, I'll keep going then. Kate, great question. So, Steven, do you have a PDF of the application we can reference since only the submitter can access the application in the portal? And Brian responded. He said, go to the Advanced Local webpage. There's a user guide in the resources section, which walks through each section of the application. And then Stephen, Jamie asked, whoops, are the naming conventions in the user guide or just in the portal? I don't know the answer to that.
Just in the portal. I'm not sure if they're in the user guide. I don't recall. I would be surprised if it's not, but it definitely is in the portal. But like I said, if you try to upload something that is not either a PDF or an Excel file, it's not going to let you go any further. It'll say, please upload the proper file format. So it's either going to be a PDF or an Excel file.
Okay, and I think maybe Jamie's also asking about the naming conventions. So how to name the files. Do we have instructions on that?
We don't. It's just like if you're in the section of completing the workbook and you upload that workbook, just call the file a workbook so that I know that it's it. Or if you're uploading your audited files, just in the naming convention, audited files, just so whatever section that you're in of the application and it requests some kind of file to be uploaded, just so that I know what it is. However you want to name it is fine, just as long as it references what section you're in or information.
All right. Kate asks, is the advanced local program subject to prevailing wage requirements? And that's question one. And then question two is, if so, how does CBO recommend identifying the appropriate wage rates?
That's a good question, and I don't think that's something that has come up in the conversation. I know it did for SLFRF, Allie, but I don't think there is a prevailing wage component to this to this program.
Judd, can you confirm? I don't believe so either because it's funded outside of the state of Colorado, but do you know?
Correct.
He may not be on. You
Yeah,
know
I
what?
don't, we didn't put it in there because it's not required at the state level.
The
Yeah, so
correct.
No.
Kate, we'll take that back and get a confirmation out for you in fax.
And
The
put it
fax
in
document.
fact, yeah.
Yep. Jamie asked if we could get a list of the naming conventions. It's not in the user guides, and not all members have access to the portal. I think Stephen answered that already, but Jamie, hop off mute if you'd like, and we'll be happy to dig down into that a little bit further. Kate asked if is there 100% of funding for this program state funds, or are any awards subject to federal regulations and procurement requirements?
It is
Uh,
100%. Oh,
no, yep, go. I was waiting for you, but I was gonna happen.
I, it was funny. I thought you were going to speak first, and then I was ready for you. But this is all state funding, so I don't think there's any federal funding involved with this program at all. This is all 100% state funding.
All right. Jamie, just making sure we answered your question there about the naming convention. You good? Okay.
PDF or
He said
Excel.
yes.
I don't believe there's any Word document. Other than that, it's texting it. I mean, it's typing in, their text box, and then you're typing in information and things like that if there's no file to be uploaded. So PDF or Excel. Does anybody want to come off mute and speak? Don't be afraid of me. Come on. No? Any other any other things in the chat? Oh wait, I see some hands raised. Craig.
Hey, question about the
Hey Craig.
portal. How are you
Yeah.
doing? Can you work on multiple applications at once, like the bead portal?
Meaning can you do a last mile or at a middle mile
Well, no, just the functionality
or multiple middle mile requests or
yeah, yeah. So it seems like the functionality is you can't start a new one until you finish the old one.
I think that's correct. But I'll double check that 100% to see if that's possible. But I don't think so, Craig. I think you have to complete each application before doing another one. I don't think you can work on them simultaneously. But great question. I don't remember it coming up in any conversations, but I think functionality wise, I don't think you're able to. But
Okay.
don't get an answer. Get an answer for that. It's a great question.
Yeah, if it's no, you can put that in the comment card box just because it's easier
Yep.
to cut and paste from one to the next if you have two windows open. Even if you don't have uh, collaborators, you can still have two windows open and just duplicate the information as you go.
And you said that's a you can't, because I was just on the peripheral of bead, so it sounds like you were saying that is something you could do in the bead portal.
Yeah, you could
Well,
have multiple concurrent applications.
oh well, isn't that fancy?
Yeah, I
Okay.
wonder if you can do the save for later option and copy the link and then start another one. But I honestly, I don't know. Thanks for bringing that up, Craig. We appreciate that. We're gonna check on that ASAP. So
Yeah, it is a good question. Hey Kate, I see you have your hand up.
And one more, if I could.
Oh, you got one more, Craig?
Yep.
Go for
In
it.
the FAQ said that you guys weren't really mapping locations, for last mile to be served by middle mile, but would you be mapping priority routes or any input that you've collected from a state level plans for connectivity or county and municipal level. Think of it as like a last mile or a BSL look, but instead of a BSL, it's actually a route, a wish list from all the state, local municipality entities that places where they would like to have and any kind of input that you've collected from updated broadband assessment or connectivity forward-looking plans for the last year or two.
That was a mouthful, Craig. Super team, does anybody want to take that on? Because I don't know the answer to that when it comes to mapping. And I know Megan's is not on. So does anybody have an answer for that today, or is it a question that we need to note and come back to?
It feels like we need to go back and check that and see what we have. The middle mile program that's being worked on right now is still kind of in the developing stages, so we don't have those wish lists, or we may have access to them but don't have them prepared yet. So I think that's a fantastic question, and we'll need to come back to you on that, and we'll get that into the FAQs. And Craig, if you want to follow up with an email to our general inbox, we'll make sure we address that this week or early next week.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say some of this is there's a great questions, Craig, and some of this is still works in progress as we try to, gauge where we're at with the portal. And so these questions are going to be very important to us as we make tweaks and all that kind of stuff to the portal and the application and all of that stuff. So they're great questions. Unfortunately, some of it we might have to come back, circle back around and answer those questions. So this is great.
Okay. Yeah.
Craig, did you have another question or?
No, just to follow up, you can reference the BEAD middle mile, that $1 billion that they had, way back when it seems, but a lot of the states had wish lists that they put out there in their program. So Utah would publish a list of routes that they thought would have been good to bid on, and some of those got built. So it's just aligning the state view with what the providers would do. And it's just an input, but that's a benchmark from that round.
Thank you, Craig. And Kate, I see you got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just wondering, I think you've run one round of applications for this program before, and I was just wondering, like, what do you expect to be kind of the biggest challenges for applicants for this cycle, or like any pieces that we should be making sure we start extra early?
I think the biggest challenge probably is going to be the workbook, because it requires a lot of data in it in terms of your financials, in terms of organizing your budget and things like that. So, but we did a reminders slide. I don't know if you heard that in terms of gathering the information. You like your audited financials. Who's going to be your signatory. God, what else am I thinking here? The workbook. And this is all in the guidelines. I can't think right offhand what is needed. But if you email, I'm happy to give you something more concrete. Otherwise, it's still, that's why we refer to the guidelines quite a bit here, because everything you need to know is in the guidelines, and specifically for middle mile, the middle mile addendum has all that information in there. So, but if you want to email me directly, you can, and I'm happy to address it away from this office hours. Not a problem.
Okay, I have one additional question, which is on the letters of support from local government. If we meet with a local government entity who is unwilling to provide or unable, given timelines, to provide a letter of support, should we be detailing that in our project narrative, or can we upload it in place of the letter of support from that entity?
Super team, who wants to take that on?
Yeah, I
What
think
would
if
be
you want
your
to
what
send a
would be your
follow up on that,
what would be
we
your
can
recommend?
certainly
Okay.
try to address it. I'm sorry, Stephen. Go ahead.
No, I was going to ask the super team, meaning you and Ali and whoever else and Judd, what their recommendation would be on that. But we can treat it as a follow up question and get something more concrete. So,
And I would say generally we can't answer questions about individual applications, but if you want to send a follow up, we'll see what we can do to help.
Okay, thanks.
um, Oscar, I saw you had a question in there. I was looking in the chat and I saw something.
Hang
Yeah,
on, let
my
me find it for you. Oh, sorry, Oscar, did you come off mute? Um, Stephen, the question is any funding available for operations? Data transport is expensive, and Leo competition's making things tough.
Super team, any suggestions, any comments on that?
Yeah, sorry, Oscar. This program is for infrastructure development.
okay.
Yeah, that's a statutory requirement, I believe. We'll add that to the FAQs though.
Hi, Oscar. I'm glad to see you on here though. I hope you're doing well.
Well, not so much with the data out of the sky.
Well, nonetheless, I'm still glad to see you on here, and it's nice to hear your voice.
Okay.
We
Yeah,
have a from
one.
Michelle. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. We have a question from Michelle, and I'm sorry if you already answered it. Stephen, can you share what CBO will consider open access in the context of middle mile? Did you guys hit that already?
We did not.
Okay. And
Judd, I
Judd,
think that might be.
he listed the definition in the guidelines. Uh, Judd, did you want to speak to it at all, or?
Yeah, there's a definition. It's in the main guidelines, not in the middle mile addendum. So I just cut and pasted it there. But I think what we're looking for is, evidence of, what rates are you going to charge? Do you have already lined up ISPs who are interested in it? Just as much information as you can give us. We've never used this as a criteria, I guess, for an actual middle mile project. So we're kind of open to your description. And we can always come back and ask more questions, but that's the definition from the guidelines.
Thanks for that question, Michelle.
I'm not seeing anything else in the chat right now, Stephen.
Okay. Anybody want to come off mute and um, speak, or what their experience has been in terms of registering on the portal or kind of getting your information in there? I said in the webinar that if you did a BEAD application, and I know that that was a heavy lift, but our system for advanced local is completely different from the BEAD system. So none of that information is transferring over. The systems do not talk to each other. So unfortunately, you would be starting from scratch with all your information and things like that. So hearing none, I will just remind you that the next office hours is going to be Thursday, May 28th at 10 o'clock. We encourage you to register in advance, and I think the questions are going to start to build as we move forth, as people start to engage with the portal and the application and all that kind of stuff. So looking forward to hearing more questions and what your experience has been using the portal, good, bad, or anything in between. We want to know. So I appreciate you all attending today. And last chance for any other questions. Going once.
There's one
I
in
think
the
so.
chat.
What was that? I heard something.
Yeah,
There's one in the chat from Craig.
Yeah, what would you publish for the public comment period from the applications.
Greg, it was a little muddled for me. I see it in the chat. What would you share with the public for the public comment period for this round? What would I share?
So, Craig,
Yeah,
we're looking over the public comments, and I don't know if we're going to provide a summary this time, but we'll likely answer them in the facts. We did not get very many public comments, for what it's worth.
No, for the award round, after the awards, you said you would publish those for a period of public comment. And what would you?
Oh, for challenge? The challenge period?
Yeah, are you just going to publish the lines and the amounts, or?
Oh, great question. I'll have to get back to you on that. I think typically what we do is we have a standard format, and I can't remember it, Craig. But I would imagine we'll stick with the standard format. Typically, county served, awarded entity. I don't know that we know for this one, but we'll take a look and we'll get back with you. We'll answer it in the facts, Craig.
Thank you.
All right. Well, I think we can now wrap it up. Going once, going twice. Thank you, everybody, for attending, and thank you, Super Team, and look forward to our next discussion on Thursday, May 28th. All right. Thanks, everybody.